Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Allen.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And today, Ryan had Devon and I watch the Tim Burton film from 1999, Sleepy Hollow. But before we get into that, we've got some other stuff to talk about. Like everyone else on the internet, I watched a movie this weekend. I'm not even going to ask you guys what you guys watched because I watched a thing and I want to talk about it. I watched Dune. I watched Dune this afternoon. I want to say I went to the movie theaters, but I did not. I watched it at my home theater. So I watched Denis Villeneuve's Dune, starring Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa, and like 8 minutes of Zendaya.
Wait, was she only in 8 minutes of this movie?
She's only in 8 minutes of the movie completely. Like,
I thought she was a main character.
She is. She definitely is. But it's a lot of flashbacks and like dream sequences that she's in. So, not to spoil the movie for you, but she's not actually there for most of it. So have you guys seen Dune yet?
Well,
Ryan's seen more than I have.
I saw like the first 2/3 of it. I thought I could get it in today. That's how much I could actually watch. But I have also seen the one that was made in the 70s. So
80s.
It's 80s. Okay. Early 80s. Mid 80s? Whichever. And I'm actually quite happy about it, which we'll get into later, probably.
Yeah. I enjoyed this, having not seen the David Lynch version, having not read the books, having only really seen Star Wars. I really enjoyed this. Because if you don't know, George Lucas stole a lot from Dune for Star Wars.
Like most of it.
Yeah, most of it. There's an emperor in Dune, and there's an emperor in Star Wars. That's just one thing. Sand dunes being another. But
the Jedi.
I really enjoyed this. There were a few things that caught me off guard in this. One that I really enjoyed, and one that I'm still kind of baffled by. The one that I really enjoyed was Hans Zimmer's score. I told you guys when I said I was going to watch this today that I was going to have my speakers all the way up and just inject that Hans Zimmer score into my veins. Yeah. And I did. What I did not expect was the heavy use of bagpipes.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
The Oscar Isaac and Timothée Chalamet's family theme is like all bagpipes, and it's awesome. I absolutely love it. But I wasn't expecting it. Like, it's Hans Zimmer. I was thinking, straw, like long, deep tones. But no, there's just at one point there's just a guy with a bagpipe on screen.
Yeah,
and the score comes from like it starts the music on screen, and then it just becomes the score as they arrive on the planet with all the sand and the spice and all of that stuff.
So is it like the Atreides theme?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the Atreides theme. I've seen it once. I don't know names.
Got it.
I know Paul and I know Jessica. That's about it. Except for the second thing that caught me off guard in this movie. And that's Jason Momoa's character name, which is Duncan Idaho.
Oh yeah, he plays Duncan. I thought Oscar Isaac was going to play Duncan.
Oscar Isaac is the dad.
Oh, he's the dad. Oh,
yeah,
he's the dad.
And like I get that we're in a sci-fi world where you got to make like you got to come up with names for people. So I was okay with like the Pauls and the Jessica and even Duncan, but Duncan Idaho, like Idaho as a last name, just really caught me off guard because when I look at Jason Momoa, I don't think Idaho at all.
Nope, not even a little.
But
I think some like pasty accountant.
Yeah,
like Dwight Idaho or something.
Exactly. So like that name just didn't really fit, but that caught me off guard. But otherwise, other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. I was relieved to see as I was watching it, they announced Dune Part 2. Because Devin, I don't know if you know this about Dune, but at the beginning it says Dune Part 1.
Does it really?
Yeah. It's only the first part. It's only the first half of the first book.
All right. So something that I wondered is, so I've read Dune and I've heard of the adaptation from the 80s and how bad it was because Dune is so dense. I know that the original one from the 80s starts with just a woman monologuing at you, which gross. How does this version of the movie handle all of like the sci-fi just bullshit they stuff into the plot, like the Kishwa Haderach and all of the like the very like insane things that they have all of the time?
Being new to Dune, I was able to follow along for the most part. Like, there's still a few things that I'm iffy on that I can probably do more research on. I bought the book on Audible, so I'm going to probably listen to it between now and when part 2 comes out.
The book's good. The audiobook's good.
Yeah. Because it looks like it has like a whole cast.
It does. And they have like laser sounds, like pew pew, which is also fun.
That's what I love about audiobooks. Like, that's what I love about the Star Wars ones, because they do the score and the sound effects and all of that. But yeah, I understood what was going on for the most part. I still have a few questions, but I think there's things I'm supposed to have questions about.
Okay.
Ryan, what did you think? Seeing 2/3 of it?
I'm ecstatic about it.
Are you?
I really hope that this movie kind of taps the same vein that Avatar did with a lot of people, and just causes hysteria, because you can see where the influence in Star Wars comes from in this, the way that they did it. I feel that everything from costume design to the music, I really hope that this inspires a whole new generation of sci-fi fans, and I see, copies of this stuff in the next 30, 40 years. Like, it's to me, I'm putting it so far on that pedestal. And from seeing the 80s version of it, one, I take offense to Devon's without ever seeing it firsthand, to actually make that distinction that it's gross. Okay, so
I defend Devon. I know, from what I've seen in David Lynch, it's a fair assessment.
Again, you haven't seen it either, so I'm not gonna, take that with any salt at all.
Ryan, if only we had a podcast where you could make us watch movies.
True, but there's so
You
much
should, actually.
I know, but there's so much other stuff I need to catch you both guys up on.
Yeah, but. Well, we'll get to it. Dune's on the list.
Okay,
Dune's on the list. Believe me.
Yeah.
Good.
I wanted to see this one before I saw that one anyway, so it works out.
Okay. But I can definitely see where in the book, where David Lynch took stuff from the book, and tried to do his best to like recreate those scenes with the technology that he had. But then I can also see where this new Dune, where it was taking inspiration from that movie and putting it on to this one. So it was those moments that I really enjoyed, where it was like, oh, that scene's almost exact. I like this.
That's very cool.
One last thing I'll say about Dune is I wish I had seen it on the big screen. I wanted to. Schedule-wise, it just didn't work out. But Ryan, if you are interested in going to see this on the big screen, prefer maybe even an IMAX, let me know, and we'll set something up.
Okay.
So this is something that we should see on the big screen, because I know that in the marketing they were like, made for the big screen, and I was like, that's marketing to get you.
It's not marketing.
Well, the director was one of the ones who was against the HBO Max release.
Yeah. Because
they didn't really get a say in it. That was just Warner Brothers, and Legendary Pictures was kind of caught off guard by that too. So there was a big push by the creative team behind it to get people into theaters and not to watch it on HBO Max, and rightfully so. Like, I completely understand that standpoint. And I regret not watching it on the big screen. Like, I wanted to, but I have a pretty decent setup at home. The sound wise, it was good. I didn't have to worry about like traveling. Like, if I was going to go see it today, I was going to have to travel an hour to go see it. But yeah, so I was like, it's not like, it's probably worth my time. At some point, I'll probably just buy a ticket to go see it and then just not go, like, just to like support it at the box office. I thought about doing that. Like, just the guilt. But no, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely go see this on the big screen.
Good.
So
yeah,
good. I might have to do that then.
Yeah, because there are some scenes, and Alan can probably think of a few, because I know I have at least two on the that I could name that are made for a big screen. Because like I was watching and I'm like, okay, this needs to be on the big screen.
I would definitely go see this in IMAX. So hopefully that happens.
That would be cool.
Devin, how about you? Have you seen anything recently?
I did, and I'm mad at both of you.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
Okay, this is just going to be group therapy session for me. All right, I saw Venom 2. I didn't listen to the podcast, or our episode of it that I wasn't on. And I didn't do it specifically because I know that you guys said, all right, well, let's just hop right into it. And it said spoiler talk. And I went, well, I don't want spoilers. I want to give this a fair shake, right? All I had known about Venom 2 going into Venom 2 is that you guys went, yeah, it's better than the first one. It's a good movie. And I'm like, okay, cautiously optimistic. I hated the trailer. I hated the first one. Changed my mind, Venom. Venom did not change my mind. This was an awful movie. As an adult, I had never almost walked out of a movie like I almost walked out of this. Halfway through the movie, Romana turned to me and went, this is awful. And I went, this is awful. And we just agreed that it was awful, and it never got better. And I could pick out specific things, right? Like there were moments. So like the moment that we both turned to each other and said, this is awful, was EDM Venom. Why did that need to happen? I don't care EDM Venom. I just don't, right? But the part that got me was some of the writing was just terrible. Some of the character motivation made no sense. The stakes were just shouted by Tom Hardy at some point and then never addressed again. So, so the conflict in Act 1 is that Venom wants to eat brains, right?
Yes.
And Eddie Brock will only let him eat chicken brains and chocolate, but he won't let him eat human brains, and Venom needs human brains, and Venom is hungry. That is always Venom's driving point. That just gets dropped. At no point does Venom address that, oh, now I have a good source of brain. The resolution of the plot isn't, oh, good, now I'm eating brain sustainably again, and we found a way to make this shit work. No, the resolution of the plot is, I'm on a beach. That doesn't resolve anything from Act 1. Venom isn't better. Tom Hardy isn't better. They're not better together. Just now they're on a beach and Venom's okay with it, I guess.
I would argue that they are better together by the end of the film. Like they do come to an agreement about what they're going to do together. The eating brains thing is one thing. I think the other issue that the two of them have in the first act is Venom wants to be out there saving people and using their abilities for good. Eddie's like, we can't do that because we have to lay low because of all the people who died in the first film. Like we don't want people investigating us. And I think by the end of the film, they strike a balance of, okay, yeah, we will be the lethal protector. Like Eddie comes on board with that and they agree to that. So I think the eating brains thing wasn't the main point they were going for, but it was a minor thing. Like don't get me wrong. Yeah. I agree with you. Like they don't really resolve the eating brains thing.
Yeah.
To a point, like he does get to eat a brain, and
he eats like a brain.
Yeah.
And they used the one F-bomb they could have used in a PG-13 movie at that point.
So I want to clarify something of what I said to you, and if I misled you, I apologize. I never meant to say that this movie was good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I believe I have said to you in all of our correspondence about this movie was I liked it more than the first one. Okay, fair. What I enjoyed more about this one is the back and forth banter between Eddie and Venom. They're like it does get to be tiring at points, and like the second act of this, like the middle part of this film, is a mess.
Okay, good.
But the banter that we have between the two of them and their interactions in that first part of the movie, where you have Venom drawing out the map and all of like their interactions and even their fight in the apartment is a lot of fun for me. Plus you get Venom singing Tomato Tomato.
Nope, that wasn't a benefit for me even a little bit. So the fact that he was singing in the apartment made when he was at the EDM concert and picked up a mic, I was ready to get up and walk out if he started singing. I'm glad it was just a speech about how people need to get along. But okay, like I was like, okay, they set up and established the singing earlier. This is going to be the payoff. Oh no.
I don't want to spend too much time diving into things that we talked about on the podcast. I think you need
Did
to
you
go
talk
back
about this?
We talked about the EDM thing in the podcast.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
We did.
Okay.
We had a deep conversation about what that scene means. Josh from
Gross.
Victims and Villains had a lot of things to say about it.
Okay.
And because it's Venom's coming out scene, like that's him being like, I am Venom. Like, I don't need Eddie. Oh wait, I think I need Eddie. Like the way he talks, he kind of like convinces himself that this is what he wants, but it's not really what he needs. Like he needs Eddie.
So then this is probably a hot take from Devin. Dear Hollywood, I don't want a screaming character. I don't care that it's a well-established mutant. Stop giving me women with screaming powers, please. It's not fun. It hurts my ears every time. I hate watching it. I love the actor that they picked for that part.
Yeah.
I love it. I also kind of understand the whole, like, she's a foil for Venom because Venom in sound, and then in the end, like, that's what I get it. We can find more clever ways to do it. We set the finale in a church where the bell is, where everyone knew the bell was going to be. Like, we could have found more clever ways to introduce audio cues to Venom without having a literal screaming mutant there. I thought the tie-in was going to be with X-Men in the end. I'm glad it wasn't, but man, was I going to be disappointed if it was.
Ryan, you've been quiet. Do you want to take this one, or do you want me to?
I mean, all I was gonna say is I just find the relationship between Eddie and Venom to be entertaining, and that's all I wanted from this movie. And
that drove the movie for you.
And they bickered a few times, and I laughed at the goofy stuff. And yes, the EDM Venom thing is ridiculous, but at the end of the day, that's all this movie is.
Okay. But, going back to Shriek, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Screaming
okay,
women as antagonists is overused and needs to stop. What I appreciate about, like, I don't think she's really a foil for Venom. I think she's a foil for Carnage and Cletus.
That's
like,
what I meant.
The reason she's there is to show the split between Cletus and Carnage, because where Eddie and Venom are have a symbiotic relationship, they don't. Like they are divided on that main issue for Cletus, and because of that, there's conflict there, and that's their weakness. And I think you need that for them to be able to be defeated at the end. So
how cool would it have been though if it was an ideological difference? Like if it was like, I think, great, I have this superpower, I'm Carnage, I want to do XYZ. Carnage goes, okay, well, my deal is that I need to be doing, this. It mirrors what Eddie and Venom's was doing in the beginning of it, but then they took it in a whole new direction. I think that would be more interesting than my girlfriend screams, I don't like screams.
Okay, so what you're talking about is a different movie.
Yeah!
A better one. What you're talking about is the motivation for a movie that's more in depth with its characters and not just a superhero version of slapstick comedy. That's how I see the Venom movies. I don't want to be intellectually entertained when I go see a Venom movie. I see Venom movies the same way some people watch pro wrestling. I don't want to think. I just want to laugh.
I think, okay, and here's the only reason why I'm not with you on that, because I do kind of agree that that's how you have to approach this movie. It's fun. Look at him. He's singing and making breakfast, and he made a big one.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. I think the thing that worries me is that they've now officially tied it into, spoilers.
Oh, we're going to get into it. Like, yeah, if you haven't seen the post-credit scene of Venom 2 at this point,
find it on YouTube.
We're gonna spoil. We didn't stream about it yet. We need to talk about it on stream, so we're going to talk about it.
Oh,
now.
we didn't. Okay, yeah. So they're tying it in the end scene is that he sees Tom Holland Spider-Man on TV, and he goes, "Oh, that guy," or something like that. Like he's mad at Tom Holland Spider-Man or a Spider-Man. What I'm genuinely worried about is I don't think Venom's going to show up in the new Spider-Man movie. I think he's going to show up in the next one. That's going to be live action Spider-Verse, because I don't think the next Tom Holland movie is going to be live action Spider-Verse. I think it's going to be Sinister Six, and then the next movie, the one that Sony produces that they haven't announced yet, is going to end up being the one with Andrew Garfield and with Tobey Maguire in it.
Then why do what they did in this movie release
because
now?
because I think Venom's going to be the point of view character for when they all cross over, and I'm really worried that Spider-Verse is going to be a Venom movie,
Okay.
and that's how you balance the Spider-Men.
There is a lot to unpack there.
There is. It's taking a lot of assumptions, but I'm so worried that Venom's going to be a bigger part in this.
Oh my God, I don't know. I mean,
all right. So your main thing right now. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about this because this is important to get out of the way before December. Actually, before the new trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home is supposed to drop any minute now.
Shoot!
Like any day now, we're going to get it with the new Variety or Empire magazine or whatever doing their featurette on it. So you don't think Venom's going to be in No Way Home?
I think that Venom is going to play. If he's in it at all, he's a very small part in it. Like, he's not a big deal in it.
Okay. I think he's part of the Sinister Six.
Interesting. He's not like a founding member of it, is he?
He's not, but they're not really going with the comic book origins of the Sinister Six either.
That's fair.
So,
that's fair.
I think the fact that I think the main argument for me that he is going to be in this movie is the way they handle the release schedule for this movie.
Okay.
We were supposed to get Morbius before this. Morbius is yet to come out. Morbius was supposed to come out like a half a year before Venom 2. Venom 2 got priority before No Way Home for a reason. And I think that reason is you have to see Venom 2 to set up No Way Home.
Like why Tom Hardy's there in that movie. Okay, I mean I can definitely see that. I think I'm just worried that he's going to have a big part in the movie.
Okay,
I don't want to have a big part.
This is where I was going to be talking about prior. Like, this is where my issue with your leaps of logic went to. Venom being in either one of these, this Spider-Man movie or the next one, it's not going to be a Venom movie.
Okay.
If he's in there, and whether it be part of a Sinister Six storyline, whether it be part of a Spider-Verse storyline, he's going to be a character in a Spider-Man movie, meaning the slapstickiness is going to begin and end with him, with that style of it. So what I'm getting from you is you're afraid that you're going to get one of these Spider-Man movies, it's going to be in the hands and in the complete style of one of the Venom movies. And it's not, because that's not the way this... Any other time they've ever brought in another character into one of the other characters' franchise, like they bring Thor into an Iron Man movie, or they bring, Ant-Man into Captain America, it still has the feel of a Captain America or Iron Man movie. It's not it's not a Thor movie. You're
what?
You're becoming too panicked on it.
I need to take a pause from it. The Ant-Man and Captain America analogy with Venom and Spider-Man, very good, Ryan. I didn't think of it like that at all. Like, that's such a great comparison because he's right. Like it's still going to be a Spider-Man movie. Like that hits the nail right on the head. Like that.
Well, I mean, here's my thought with it though. So, right, you are Sony Studios. You are borrowing your own character back from Disney. You cannot lean heavily on Tom Holland because technically Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man isn't yours to do something with. You have Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, which the public doesn't like as much. You have Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which hasn't been doing anything for years. So you have 3 Spider-Men that you're going to base your Spider-Verse movie off of, one of which, the most popular one right now, you can't use. How do you frame that movie in a way that makes sense? Oh, we happen to have this franchise of a anti-hero who's trying to do good, who is funny in some of the same ways that Spider-Man is funny. We could have them cross over with him and fight something bigger, but you have that Act 2 conflict right built into that. So fun and games of, Spider-Men teaming up to fight Venom, who's actually a good guy. Then you have the Act 3 resolution of them all working together at the end. It can still be that Venom point of view movie because that slapstickiness does kind of fit some of Spider-Man's traits if you only see the glimpses of him that aren't also him being Peter Parker and having Peter Parker drama, which that's how you get them all on screen. That was my logic with it. Is how are they going to even do this?
So you don't think that No Way Home is a Spider-Verse movie?
I don't. I think No Way Home is a Sinister Six movie that leads into the Spider-Verse movie, and I think it makes sense because I think this is why Sony was okay with giving Spider-Man back.
Using your own logic jumps against you.
Do it.
Marvel's still going to have a huge hand in a Spider-Verse movie. Sony isn't going to be calling the shots.
I don't know. I think that they don't need to. Like, I think Sony will have a big hand in the Tom Holland version of whatever happens in the Spider-Verse movie. But I think the creative control for Tobey Maguire and for Andrew Garfield is going to go to Sony. Also, I want us to play this movie back in January, or play this conversation back in January so I can yell at myself.
Okay. So right now, Devin, you're at the standpoint of No Way Home is just a Sinister Six movie and the other two Spider-Men are not in it.
Yes.
Ryan, what do you think?
I don't really have a prediction.
Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. I think they are in it. I think the talking points that have come out in the recent interviews about this movie, all signs point towards this being the Spider-Verse movie. It's supposedly it's going to be 2.5 hours long. They're comparing it to Endgame. The director was quoted as saying, "This is Spider-Man's Endgame." Like,
weird.
They're putting it all on the table for this. They're looking at it as a conclusion to this trilogy of Tom Holland films. So I don't know what that means for the future of his version of Peter Parker. I hope he stays in the MCU, but there's a chance that he'll either be in the MCU and split off into Sony, or Sony's going to be integrated into the MCU. I don't know how it's going to work. We actually really don't know what happens to Venom there at the end. Like, was he brought into the MCU or did the universes merge?
Right.
And, but one bit of information that came out recently was Tom Holland gave an interview about one of the most epic scenes that he filmed for No Way Home, and it involved four characters: Peter Parker, Aunt May, Happy Hogan, and a fourth character, all having a conversation at the dinner table. And he called it the most epic scene that he's ever done for Spider-Man.
Oh, that's so weird.
So the speculation is, who's that fourth person? Is it Tobey Maguire? Is it Andrew Garfield? Or is it Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil?
Oh, right. I forgot he might be in this.
Or could it be Uncle Ben?
Well, the big
wow.
like one of the theories about Tobey Maguire is that he's an Uncle Ben variant, like, because he's about the age for Uncle Ben in the MCU. Like,
I think
it's feasible.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that. I don't know if I'd like Tobey Maguire in as not Peter Parker.
Well, no, I think he would be Peter Parker, but I think he would be like the MCU's version of Ben Parker looked like Tobey Maguire.
Oh, that
so
would be cool.
how cool would it be if he comes through a portal and like Tom Holland takes off his mask, like Uncle Ben, like
oh, that would be weird. Okay, I see. This is the Spider-Man movie that I want. What we're talking about. I'm afraid that my view is going to happen, and that it's just going to be a long Sinister Six movie. Tom Holland's going to be like, "Bye guys, I'm off to Sony Adventures," and then Sony does his thing.
And then
I don't know.
Yeah, and I just want to remind you, what did you think of the Jaws movie before you saw it?
Oh, I thought it was going to be awful. It was just, I thought it. What did I think it was? It was. Oh, I forget what I called it. Not good. I mean.
Yeah.
The same with RoboCop. The same with I mean, that was my favorite episode of the show. Is me assuming RoboCop was just it's about a robot cop. I get it.
And that's how you kind of took it. And then Alan and I had to be like, you've missed all of the social
You missed the whole point of the movie.
You missed the whole point of the movie because you couldn't not focus on the robot cop. Like, seriously.
You 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that the week of Christmas, we're going to spend like 3 hours talking about the Spider-Man movie we had just saw. Like that's what the podcast is going to be the week of Christmas. Like we're not even going to talk about Christmas stuff. We're going to do the what'd you guys like, even if we have a Christmas movie picked out, it's going to be like, what'd you guys watch? And we talk about Spider-Man for the whole episode. And like, yeah, we watched the Santa Claus. It was good. Tim Allen was in it. Have a good week. Like
and done. I can't wait for that. I need to put up some kind of like stakes for this. Like if I'm this wrong come December, like I need to like donate money to something or something. I need to. Well, I'll think about it.
Well, I'm glad you brought up donating money because I wanted to bring up something that we did over the weekend, real quick. We participated in the Victim and Villains. I didn't update that link. I think that link's wrong now. We participated in the Victim and Villains Horrific Hope live stream fundraiser event. And I need to find the right link for the GoFundMe. It was a lot of fun. But I talked to Josh and he told me that the GoFundMe will be live until Halloween. So if you haven't had a chance to donate yet, now is your chance. Devin actually donated based off of his stream the other day. What was it? 6 pence for every time you died?
6 pence for every time I died in the game of Celeste. I died 256 times in 2 hours. So it was a lot of deaths. But yeah, ended up being a really fun time though. It was really great. And
I matched Devin's donation. So you can click the link in the chat here. They're over halfway to their goal. I would love to see them get pushed over to pushed over the edge to make their goal. Because we love Victims and Villains and everything they do over there. They've got some exciting things happening in the future that I am not at liberty to say on the stream yet, but I will tell you guys afterwards. Cool. A lot of fun things happening with Victims and Villains. So if you haven't yet, click the link. I just put it in the Facebook chat as well. Donate what you can. All the money goes towards getting mental health resources into schools, conventions, churches, to the people who need it. Victims and Villains promotes mental health advocacy and suicide prevention through pop culture, and we love working with them. We can't wait to do more stuff with them in the future. So click the link, donate what you can, and keep an eye out on our podcast feed for our podcast where we did our Halloween special. That'll be dropping later this week when I am able to get that edited together and put out. Or you can just go back on our Facebook feed and Twitch feed, or the Victims Twitch feed and watch it there. So, but yeah. Anything else before we move on to today's main topic?
I'm excited. I want to talk some Johnny Depp.
Okay. Ryan, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You need some coffee?
No,
it's a good yawn.
It was a good yawn. I'm really glad your video feed didn't freeze on the yawn. The rest of the episode. All right, so today's main topic is the 1999 film by Tim Burton. I don't know why I'm slipping into Walken. Oh wait, yes I do. Sleepy Hollow. Ryan, take it away.
You got to pick up the voice.
So I don't do voices. I've told both of you guys this. You both know me. I don't do voices. Anyway.
Such a disappointment.
Yeah, I know I am. And you should know that by now. So, it's just like Alan said. I had them watch Sleepy Hollow, 1999, made by Tim Burton, starring actors who have played in a ton of stuff. I'm talking, we've got Alfred in there, and we've got
Michael Coe,
Dumbledore, and
Michael Gambon,
and yeah, and so you've got a lot of people in there. Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, and this has got to be a movie that Kristen and I watch not only in October and November and during the fall, but year round, because it's fun. And I was very disappointed in both of you when I found out that neither one of you had seen it. So I really want to get to what has kept you guys from seeing it, how and your reactions. So, who wants to go first?
Devin, you go first.
Yeah, I'll go. I genuinely don't know what kept me from seeing this. I it was one of those movies that like I was always vaguely aware of, and I was like, I should watch that sometime. And then it just like kept getting on that list of like I should watch this sometimes, and then never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was genuinely shocked to hear that like anyone else in the world had watched this movie, and that nobody, like everyone doesn't just keep putting it off until later like I do. Like I asked Ramon, I'm like, would you like to watch this with me? She goes, I've seen it so many times. I'm like, I didn't even know you watched it once. So that's why I loved it. I really loved it. This movie is Halloween for me. Like I'll be adding this to my Halloween rotation because it's just want to see Johnny Depp bump into everything that you associate with Halloween. There he is. Go. I thought it was wonderful.
Okay.
I think the reason I haven't watched this is by the time it was available to me, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp had been so oversaturated in the film market. Like by the time I was able to like go to Blockbuster and rent this, it was Willy Wonka and Dark Shadows and Alice in Wonderland. And it's like, I'm not interested in that. And I think that's kind of what held me back from watching it all this time.
Okay.
But this is like peak Tim Burton and Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
very reminiscent of Edward Scissorhands and Tim Burton's earliest aesthetic. And I think part of that has to do with it being Johnny Depp before Jack Sparrow, which we'll get into.
Yes.
Because there's like two levels of Johnny Depp. Pre Jack Sparrow and post Jack Sparrow, and like that's the line. It's a very hard line, and you can definitely see the difference. But no, I enjoyed this. I'm really trying not to slip into Walken. I don't know why it's just coming out. I enjoyed it.
Okay,
it's good.
Okay. So I was gonna wait to talk about Walken until a little bit later, but let's just get into that.
Okay.
Since neither one of
I got a picture.
That's fine. Since neither one of you had seen this before, did either of you know what his like role in the movie was before seeing it?
No.
No clue.
Okay. So this has got to be one of my favorite Walken roles that he's ever done, which is almost a shame because he has like no lines in this at all. It's just physical acting.
Yeah.
So were you guys surprised to see him play the role that he does in this? Do you feel like this fits him? Because this is one of those things where like I've never seen him do something like this before, because to me, Christopher Walken is this character or the dad in Hairspray, and there's no in between.
What a range!
Not the line I would draw for Christopher Walken, but okay. I think Walken having Walken's only really in this for two parts.
Yeah,
like the Horseman's origin story, and at the end, I think the rest of it is just a stunt guy on a horse. Like that's not Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I've got a story about that you guys are gonna love.
Okay, but I think part of it, like it is a small part.
Yeah.
In the scale of this movie, and I think part of the reason it's Christopher Walken is he worked with Tim Burton before, and I think one of the things about Tim Burton is a lot of actors are very eager to work with him again, whether it's Danny DeVito, or like not even just Johnny Depp, but Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson, and Christopher Walken. Like anyone who was in the Batman movies is very eager to go back and work with him again.
Uh-huh.
So I think when he got the call, like, "Hey, Christopher, do you want to be the Headless Horseman?" He's like, "Of course, why not?" So
see, this wasn't too much of a stretch for me because I think my first introduction to Christopher Walken was in View to a Kill, the 1985 James Bond movie. So I was like, yeah, of course he's the bad guy. That makes sense.
Okay, so about him getting this role. He just like Alan said, once actors work with Tim Burton, they really want to do more stuff with him, and that was the case with him. He wanted to be, he wanted this character to play, the Headless Horseman, and it wasn't until after he got the role that he told them, "Yeah, but I don't know how to ride a horse."
Oh no.
So Christopher Walken kind of hand-tied them into having to shoot his character a certain way when he was on the horse because he had no idea what he was doing.
It's really funny.
Yeah. yeah, so that the reason why I brought up, like, for me, Christopher Walken is, like, you've got him in this, and then you've got him as the dad in Hairspray. Those are my two main roles that I really see him in a lot, because I really like Hairspray. My wife really likes Hairspray, so I've seen that a handful of times, and I've loved this movie since it came out. So that's why I've seen these two the most, and his other stuff not so much. So since we got that topic in first, I'm going to go back to what I originally wanted to lead this off of with.
Oh, good.
So what do you guys know of, the Sleepy Hollow story, the whole Ichabod Crane storyline, and how do you feel about this version of the story?
Oh, you go, Alan.
Okay, so I know like I knew the bare bones about it before this.
Okay.
I watched like the first 2 seasons of the Sleepy Hollow show they did on Fox a few years ago.
Okay.
Gun to my head, I could not tell you what that show was about to the right now. Like I remember it was a time traveling Ichabod Crane, and the Headless Horseman followed him, and then they got into other adventures, and like the guy from Fringe was in it at one point. But beyond that, I don't remember what the show turned into. But beyond that, I didn't really know this story that much. Like I know the Headless Horseman's like haunting the town of Sleepy Hollow, and Ichabod Crane's there to investigate. That's about all I knew.
Okay. Devin?
I had only ever seen the 1949 Disney animated film.
See,
The Adventures of Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad.
Yep, that's exactly it. That's the only thing I had seen going into this movie. That's all I know. Isn't Sleepy Hollow in Pennsylvania somewhere?
No.
There is a Sleepy Hollow.
There is a Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
It's upstate New York. Well, it's up the Hudson. It's in New York. Got it. It's out in Pennsylvania. It is based off an actual town. The guy that actually wrote the original story, the book that 1947, 49 thing is based off of. The guy that wrote the book actually spent some time in a town in northern New York, and there was like a little village, like maybe like a day's walk away from the town, and it was settled by a bunch of Dutch, and they were very superstitious, and they were very friendly people. But he also had a few people in his life that he kind of knew that would be good to write a story about, and he just was like, I'll just take one of their myths and throw my buddies into it, and boom, you got a story. I'm
sorry to be laughing to myself, but you said the Dutch were very superstitious, and like Stevie Wonder just popped in my head.
Yeah. So, what the original story is about is you've got these German missionaries, which that from the movie is accurate. Right. You've got these German mercenaries that were brought over by the British, and they were very aggressive, to put it extremely mildly, during the American Revolution. I'm very stuttery today. This is very disappointing. Anyway,
it's all good.
Yeah. So the story is that one of them lost their head to a cannon fire. The head. There was a battle by the town. A cannonball was fired, took off one of these mercenaries' heads, and he was buried. And every night on Halloween, he goes out from the western woods and goes into town trying to find his head. And if he comes across anyone, he tries to take their head because he thinks it's his.
Got it. Okay.
And so that's where, and then from the Disney cartoon, just like in the story, if you get across the bridge to get outside of like town, the horseman can't follow you, and that's why he throws the pumpkin head across the bridge, which. The scene in Sleepy Hollow is basically an exact copy of the scene from the animated movie. So there's that. But Ichabod Crane is a school teacher, falls in love with the not Baron, that's Dune. I was watching Dune, I thought Baron, of the richest farmer's daughter, and pursues her. And then you've got Commander Rico from Starship Troopers there is the wannabe love interest.
I was
Yeah,
like,
Alan?
okay, this is why Ryan made us watch this movie. The guy from Starship Troopers is in it. And I love that that's the one that
Yeah.
you actually like point out by name. Like you listed a few of the other ones. You missed some big ones when you listed all the characters at the beginning. But you're like, no, we're going to talk about the guy from Starship Troopers.
Starship
Let's forget the
Troopers,
fact that the Emperor is in this.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, if you go through and look at all of the older guys that are in it, which we'll get to, they're like kings of Hollywood. Like, but
British
you've got,
cinema. I'll give you
British
cinema.
cinema.
Say Hollywood.
Yeah. Brum is the like other guy who's trying to like win her heart, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a mishmash in this movie of like things taken from the original story, some things taken from the Disney cartoon of it, all thrown into this new version of it, which I actually like. But when it comes to like myth and legend, I'm not sure if the Sleepy Hollow version for the movie will hold up the test of time as like an American myth as the original story would. Simply because having him be a school teacher instead of like the beginning of like CSI kind of, holds up better with kids, because that's what this is for.
I think in their effort to pad out the world and fill it in and have like these real relatable characters, an actual motive and a plot for what's happening, and then a mystery that the main character can solve, I think they had to explain away some of the greatness that made the original myth such a popular and kind of polarizing thing. Like, I would love to see a movie about a weird random ghost that comes once a year. But that's going to be a boring movie to watch because you have nothing to solve. You're just like, there's the ghost. We saw it. All right, let's wait another year.
Yeah.
Like this at least had, it had stakes. It had, Christopher Lee. It was great.
Yeah.
I think part of what I enjoyed about this movie is the mystery aspect of it. Like it's set up as a murder mystery. And I think it does a really good job of following those tropes and exploring the idea of who's responsible for these murders and leading you down different paths. And like, okay, it makes sense for them to be behind this. Okay, now it makes sense that they're behind it. And I think it does a really good job of like misleading you to the point but without misleading you, but to the point where it's not misleading you too much. It like gets you there eventually in like just the right amount of time. Like if you were to go through like all of the old men and say, well, this is why this one did it. No, it was this one. No, it was this one. And then they all start dying individually. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't make much sense. I think the biggest leap in logic for me was when he discovers the body of the Headless Horseman and his skull is missing. And Johnny Depp's like, whoever has his head controls the horseman. And I'm like, wait, how did you get to that?
How did you get there?
Well, that is the biggest leap because he would have to know that he was buried with his head.
Right. Also that.
Yeah, and that isn't explained until, later on that one of the little blonde girls in the woods was actually, the stepmother.
So
you know what? I did like the ending though. I liked the twist and I liked how they tied everything together. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, what I liked about that was I kind of expected it to be Christina Ricci because they do a good job of like making them look like her character as well. But I was like, but they haven't said that she has a sister, so what's going on here? Like I didn't know the twist, so I was like, okay, like what's actually going on here? Because I figured the witch that we see in the film and whoever's behind it were connected, and they were the little girls at the beginning. I didn't know who they were though.
Which is great because I was hoping that you guys were going into this like knowing nothing about it, because then you would actually get the benefit of like watching it for the first time and not having it ruined for you. So I'm very happy you guys had that experience.
And I did like some of the changes they made even from the original. Like sometimes I'm a bit curmudgeonly when it comes to like, I know it this way. Blah, blah, blah. I like the changes that they made. Like I like Johnny Depp basically being start of CSI. And
Yeah.
I liked him being like, okay, I get that you're all being superstitious about this. Hold up a sec. We're going to apply some science here. And then watch that slowly start to unravel where he's like, I guess there is just magic. And oh no.
Yeah.
But still applying the same principles of logic.
The one thing that I still kind of scratch my head at whenever I try to think about this movie, like, okay, so this is like the beginning of like crime scene investigation, and he sprinkles the powder next to the severed neck, and it starts to like steam, and he's like, oh yes, a chemical reaction. It means that it was a one lop or whatever he says to make it that like it was just a clean cut. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how would you get a chemical reaction from something like that?
We're like, what is that telling you, Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp does more detecting in this Tim Burton film than Batman did in 2 of his Batman films.
Yes.
Fair. Very fair.
I also like the beginning of not moving the body at a crime scene. Like,
Yeah.
I see that you moved the body. Yes, I did. Please don't do that again. Why? Because he just walks away. He's not even sure himself. He just thinks that's a good thing not to do.
I want to see the deleted scene where the guy with them is like, should we move the body? And the doctor's like, yes. Do it. Do it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think of Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane?
Sometimes I forget that Johnny Depp isn't just, and I know we're going to go into this more, isn't just a silly, over-the-top caricature of a human being. And I forget that sometimes movies used to like to use him as a sex symbol.
Yeah.
And like there were times where I'm like, oh, they want me to think he's attractive here. Okay, as long as he doesn't do the Jack Sparrow thing, I'll buy it. Where he's like, like recovering from his wounds and like falling in love, and I'm like, okay, right. Like that one time that Jack Black was the romantic lead in anything, where like nowadays he's dressing as the Hulk for TikTok, and it's weird for me to see him as the romantic lead in anything.
The Holiday.
I think the Holiday is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I enjoyed his performance in this. I like the 90s version of Johnny Depp. Are you guys hearing the people outside? We didn't say this at the beginning of the show. Part of the reason we did the show early today is there's a Halloween parade outside my apartment here in an hour, and people are already starting to make noise outside my apartment. So
Good.
I gotcha.
Okay. No, I enjoy Johnny Depp at this level. Like I enjoy his performance in this. The looks that he gets, like the terrified looks, are fantastic. Like the
Yeah.
But I believe the chemistry between him and Christina Ricci, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I really like their chemistry in this too. In fact, I really like most of the time in a movie like this, you can kind of take or leave a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's like, is it really necessary? But their chemistry is good, which is funny because Johnny Depp has known her since she was like 9.
Right.
So, I mean, he's even said in a few interviews that, that was kind of weird for him and weird for her to kind of like act out.
Yeah.
Because of that, but it didn't go too far.
No,
which is good.
No. Hold on, I have a Devin thing. I'm so sorry, but I have to bring this up. I will always find a line in a movie that I don't like. Pick a movie, I'll tell you the line. What was my line in this movie? And I don't know, I'll probably end up be paraphrasing the first bit of it, but I definitely got the punchline right.
Okay, was it when he woke up after he was attacked? Like he didn't have a head.
No, it wasn't it. But you're right scene, absolutely
okay.
Right scene.
I knew there was something in there.
It's when he goes something like, "Oh, I believe you have a bit of magic," or "Oh, I believe you're a bit of a witch yourself." And she goes, "Why would you say that?" He goes, "Because you've bewitched me." Oh, guys. Oh, guys, I cringe so hard. Oh. And fine, every movie's allowed bad lines. I don't care. It doesn't ruin my enjoyment of this movie. So I will be muting that section in the future.
I'm a bit disappointed that there wasn't a line in this movie after the horseman gets his head back, I was really expecting a line from Christopher Walken like, "Sorry, lost my head there for a moment."
I would have liked that. I really would have.
It was a horseman. He was headless.
I did like that line. I thought that was good.
Yeah,
Yes, my favorite part of that scene though is Dumbledore just be like, "Yes, we told you." Like,
yeah, it's like,
you didn't believe
yes,
us?
we told you this. Those interactions are my favorite when it comes to Ichabod Crane, Johnny Depp, working with the head men of the town. Particularly when during like his first introduction with them and he's walking around the room and he's like, telling them how it's going to be and they're just kind of staring at him like, we're caught. And then every interaction he has with them going forward, because you can tell that all of them are scared. They don't know what to do. They're afraid that they're going to be in trouble. So it's like they want to help, but they don't want to help. Mm-hmm. And I really like that interaction between them. And to get back to something that one of you guys mentioned, the whole thing where he goes to the witch in the woods and he opens up the door. I said this to Kristen, and then we watched the movie right after we watched it. Brave. I totally get vibes from the witch from Brave when he goes in. For now on, I'm just going to see that witch with her, automated pot messages.
So speaking of the witch from Brave, have you guys ever gotten into the Pixar theory?
Deep in the Pixar theory. I love it.
Ryan, have you?
Somewhat.
All right.
Do you know her connection to it?
Her connection to it. So the Pixar theory, for anyone watching or listening who doesn't know, is that all the Pixar films are connected, and one of the main points of connection is the witch in Brave, who they believe to be Boo from Monsters, Inc.
Which I love, because there's a carving of Sully in her back there, or her wood carvings, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hang on. The witch is Boo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Time traveling Boo.
Yeah.
You have to like just pulling that bit out sounds weird, but you have to follow the whole thing. Like the whole thing is she's trying to get back to Sully and trying to find the monsters world. Something I hope they explore in Monsters at Work season 2.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Who knows?
The key to the Pixar theory is Henry Winkler's character.
Okay.
Tells you all you need to know about the theory.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so going back to... I've lost my spot.
It was the Pixar theory. That's okay.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I liked, I wanted to talk about this quick. Did at any point, you guys, and Ryan, you'll have to take yourself back to the first time you watched this.
Fine.
Did you feel like the movie was trying to incorporate too much Halloween into it? Because I think I almost felt that when they got to the witch in the woods, because it almost seemed like it came out of nowhere that there was a witch in the woods. I liked the way that it tied together at the end. I now understand it. But at this point, I was like, what do you mean there's a witch in the woods? Why would this be here? This is too much for me now. What is she doing?
If I had watched this at any other time of year, I might agree with you. Yeah. But because I watched this like in late October, it didn't seem weird to me.
Yeah. See, and besides, that scene has my favorite line in it, and I wouldn't want this movie without my favorite line.
What is it?
I'm just going to read it straight from IMDb because I've been trying to find stuff. So, I should like to say that I make no assumption about your occupation nor your ways, which are nothing to me, whatever you are.
Yep. I did really enjoy that. There was some good writing in here.
And it's because of, like my stuttering and stuff, that when it's done like that for humor, I absolutely love it because it works and it fits and it's a wordplay and it's one of those where it's like everybody knows it's a witch. She's living in a cave in the woods with a wooden door on the front. You go in and she has like a veil on. It's a witch.
Right. Gee, I wonder what her occupation is.
Yeah. So what did you guys when it come? Well, actually, Alan, did you answer that? Did you answer his question before I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Because it's late October, so he's totally fine with it.
Okay. The amount of blood in this movie is amazing.
Yes.
And I love the color of it.
No, I was gonna
know
say,
it's weird.
Like having just watched like something called Let There Be Carnage, and there not being any carnage in it. It was refreshing to see blood. Like they don't overuse it. It's not like super gory, but it's effective where they do use it. So
yeah, and there's a comic aspect to it that I really love. So, but Devin.
Well, there was an aspect of it too that I think that the movie showed some restraint when it came to the blood that I thought was actually a really interesting detail, where everyone that the horseman beheaded like didn't have blood. Anytime his sword cut them, it was a clean cauterized cut.
Yeah.
And like
yeah,
I don't know if that was just a stylistic choice because they didn't want that much blood in a PG-13 movie, but for whatever it was, it actually really made the mystery work for me. Like I really thought that was a clever way to do it, and I thought it was cool.
Now, one of my favorite aspects of how they use the blood, I mention every single time we watch this movie, and Kristen gets annoyed by it at this point. It's when he does the autopsy of of like the first woman who gets killed, and she's dead. She's stiff. You can tell that they're like holding her like a board, and they place her on the operating table, and he forces them to leave. And he comes out covered in blood, and they show blood squirt on his face. Like, she's been dead for a week.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, rigor mortis. What blood does when a human body dies. Like, that's not how that works. And then he comes out just drenched in dried blood. And I laugh every single time because, like, that's not how this works. But at the same time, like, it's movie, it's Sleepy Hollow, it's kind of a comedy. So, I mean, you've got that. But I really wish blood trees were a real thing. That'd be so much fun.
Okay. I want to, first off, gross. That is the grossest part of the movie for me is that blood tree. It didn't not gross me out every time it was on screen. But if we have a second, I want to talk about the ending. Okay. So what happened in the ending? Because the way that I saw the ending, Headless Horseman gets his head back. He understands who is controlling him. He runs over. I think her name's Lady Van Tassel.
Yes.
Runs over to gallops over to Lady Van Tassel, picks her up. Like, she wakes up. He bite kisses her, and then they go into the tree together. Like. I want to know what the next 5 minutes look like for that newly minted couple. Like, is he just like really bad at kissing, and that's why there is blood? Are they a couple? Is he going to kill her? Like, I don't know what's going to happen next.
I mean, look at his teeth. They're like razor blades. Like they're filed to a point. So I think that, like, I don't know. Like, I think that's where the blood comes from with the kiss. My impression was that they rode off to hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a good next 5 minutes.
No, it's not. Like, she's...
No, they're on the highway to hell.
Yeah.
So they don't, like, go into his tree. It's like, whew, want to watch TV?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have, like, a whole setup under there or anything?
Yeah, no, I figured that was a gateway to hell. Like, that's the way I saw that.
Got it. So then, notes for Christopher Walken. Too much teeth when you kiss, man. Don't do that.
Okay, so... Good. I'm happy that's what you wanted to talk about, and not the fact that one of the biggest things I always see online about this movie that people like to critique all the time, and it gets really annoying. There are people that like to point out that you can see that Christopher Walken's teeth are painted black behind the... Yeah, I know.
Whatever, man. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Maybe it was the way that I was watching. I was watching it on my laptop, like, but I didn't see. But I didn't like. It wasn't so noticeable that it bothered me. Like, there wasn't a space of white in between all of them that made it very obviously painted on. The effect was what it was, man. Yeah.
Okay. So
you can
I'm happy
kind
that
of see it. I've got the image up here, and I'm blowing it up as we're streaming. You can kind of see it.
You can a little bit, but I mean, you're not supposed to be looking that close at his teeth when they have those baby blues there.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm exactly like those eyes. Wow.
Yeah. Those are like Chris Pine in Star Trek blue.
Those are like he's on Spice in Dune.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Pretty
topical.
much.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that you guys both liked it. Devin, I'm happy that it's going to be part of your rotation from now on.
100%.
Alan, I'm happy that it was the part of Johnny Depp that you like.
So I didn't bring this up. I got confused because over the weekend, my wife and I went to see a community theater performance of Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber
Okay.
Sweet Street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had Johnny Depp and Tim Burton on the mind when I went to watch this. Hi Chad, welcome to the show as we're wrapping it up.
Hey, Chad. Thanks for coming.
So like I was like kind of confused. Like I kept saying like, oh, I gotta watch the movie of this when I get home. Like, no, I'm watching Sleepy Hollow. this is Sweeney Todd.
This
So
is
I
a
kept
different
getting so I'm probably gonna watch Sweeney Todd tonight or in the near future. But one of the best performances of Sweeney Todd I've ever seen, and it was community
Really?
theater. I was very impressed. Absolutely the best Sweeney Todd I've seen on stage. The
Wow.
actor,
That's cool.
I don't know his name. What was phenomenal. Yeah, we started early because of Halloween Parade. Yeah, you can go back and watch the stream, Chad. It's okay. We're just happy you're here.
Yes, very happy.
But yeah, so like I've been in a Tim Burton Halloweeny mood. So this was the perfect watch for this week.
Okay. Do you think this will be kind of like maybe not every year, but do you think this will make it into your Halloween rotation?
I might watch it again. Like, yeah, I might make it into my every other year Halloween rotation. My wife had seen it before,
Okay.
and she's not huge on it, but she watched it with me.
Okay.
She's like,
Yeah.
I remember why I don't watch this every year, but it's okay. Like,
Why doesn't she? Did
She-
she give any specific critique?
just plot stuff that she doesn't enjoy. Like, it's just
Sure.
boring to
Yeah.
her. I guess she got really into it for like weird reasons when she was younger. But,
Okay.
It was
and
the
that,
teeth. I get it.
that's all I'm about to say about that.
Okay. So prior to wrapping this up, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about,
Okay.
which is all of Johnny Depp's character's flashbacks about his mom. And all of that with like the things on his palm and finding his mom in an Iron Maiden of all things. Ugh. What did you guys think of that as it was going? Because again, I know that you guys didn't know where that was headed, where that had to, fall into place with the film. My biggest thing was that I thought that was going to tie into like him being like a witch or having some type of abilities, but that never happened. So I wanted to know what you guys thought of that.
I like it as motivation for him not to like agree with the overall system that's in place. Like he's like against the man when the man happens to just be Christopher Lee. But like I get it was a good backstory for him. It set up his motivations for like the CSI side of things, which I enjoyed. I was a bit distracted by the actress playing his mom because I kept seeing the woman alien from Mars Attacks every time she was on screen. So
Good.
Okay.
you can tell which era of Tim Burton you're in, depending on which actress is in it. It's either her and it's the mid to late 90s, or it's Helen Botham Carter and it's anytime after that.
I had the dumbest read on all of that before, so I ended up liking what it was quite a bit.
Okay.
I thought that the addition of the torture devices in that whole scene was really, really good and really kind of fit the Halloweeny, like spooky vibe.
Yeah.
I have a confession to make, and this you guys are gonna think I'm so dumb, but I don't care. So when they first showed his hand and he had all the holes in it, I wasn't like, oh, a mysterious scar. I went, oh, he's doing an allergy test. That's what I thought that was.
Oh, that is... I gotta remember this one. That is like the Devon take I've ever heard on anything.
And then I just
An
wrote
allergy.
it off. I was like,
You know what I
allergy
thought?
Test next.
I
What?
thought of Morbius from the Spider-Man animated series with all like the little suction cups there. He's like,
Oh, that's cool though.
yeah. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see that in Jared Leto's movie.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, so
Jared Leto.
the the way that I take that as somebody who's like seen this ever since like I was in high school, the way that I take that is that even though like he took her like talent for like magic and skepticism, and just like Alan said, like it kind of pushed him into like the whole like science way of thinking, like using like I see him as like a potion, like he's like Snape. He's Professor Snape. He went into magic and he went into potions instead of doing spells. Like that's kind of like how I see him in this, because I'm sorry, but a normal scientist, even a little kooky scientist, wouldn't develop the type of like goggles that he was using half the time.
Right.
Like this steampunky looking stuff that he's pulling out of his bag of tricks.
I mean, it was very Tim Burton goggles, though. Like,
Oh,
those fit the tone
very.
so well.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see more Tim Burton stuff set in like in between the American Revolution, American Civil War era, like around this time, and just Tim Burton stylized. Like I want it around that style of clothing, that style of technology, but then you have one person who's like, "Hey, look at TV."
I mean, I'm excited to see Tim Burton's take on Wednesday Addams for Netflix.
Yes.
That's the next thing he's working on. He only has 2 projects in development on IMDb. It's that and Beetlejuice 2, which I don't know if that's going to happen. They've been threatening us with that since 1986. So,
Ooh, no. I'm excited for the other one, the Wednesday one.
You never know, but Beetlejuice 2 might be a gold mine. Think about it.
yeah.
I mean, it could be. It very well could be, especially with the resurgence of the Broadway musical.
Yeah.
How well that's been doing.
Well, supposedly that's going to make its way onto HBO Max. They're going to be filming it, and yeah.
That'll be cool.
Welcome
That'll
to the
be fun
chat. Chill Vibes with Andre. What did we talk about in stream? Glad you asked. Every week, one of us picks out a film that one or two of us hasn't seen before, and we talk about that. So this week it was Ryan's pick, the 1999 film Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton, starring Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. We're about to wrap up this week's. Anything else on Sleepy Hollow before I reveal my pick for next week?
I'm just happy that both of you guys really enjoyed it.
Yes, liked it a lot, really.
All right. Well, next week for my pick, we're all going to have a bad time.
Oh, no.
At the Grand Royale. Bad Times at the Royale is my pick for next week. The Drew Goddard film starring John Hamm, Chris Hemsworth, and Jeff Bridges.
I have never even heard of this movie.
Bad Times at the Royale.
Let me make sure I'm getting the name right.
At the El Royale.
At the El Royale.
I didn't know this was a movie. I'm so excited to watch this.
From the
It makes me
director of
think
Cabin
a
in the
Star Trek
Woods.
episode.
It's good. You guys are in for a treat. I said we're gonna have a bad time. I absolutely love this movie. It's been in my back pocket for a while on the show, and now is the time for us to talk about it. So
I just keep seeing the cast list. I'm so excited.
the cast is stacked.
You and your cast lists. You and your cast list, Evans.
Look,
it means nothing.
You had me at Nick Offerman, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, the cast in here.
Lists mean nothing.
Oh, Ryan, I think you're going to enjoy this cast. There are a lot of
Okay.
people whose names you might not recognize, but faces you will.
Okay.
So I think we said something, Devin, you said something at the top of the show that I think we need to set stakes for now, because it's been bugging me this whole time. So if you missed the beginning of the show, Devin is adamant that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home. And he's willing to do something. What, like, because we might know that they're in this movie before the movie comes out. Like they may confirm it in the next trailer.
Set stakes pretty soon.
Yeah, we need to set stakes now. So what are you willing to do?
Now hold on. I'm saying they're not in it as in like they don't have a part in the movie. If they are in the end credit sequence, I don't want to count this. Can we agree on that?
Yes. No, I understand that. You don't think they're going to be a major part of the film?
No. I think that this film is going to end up being set up for the Spider-Verse Sony film that happens in an indeterminate amount of time. That's what I think.
Okay. I'm trying to come on the stream wearing drag. I think I have an idea.
Oh no, what is
It doesn't have to do with wearing drag. Devin, do you own a black suit?
I do.
Okay. Do you remember that scene in Spider-Man 3?
Done. I'll do a Spider-Man 3.
You have to do the Spider-Man 3. You have to do the Bully Maguire montage dance scene
In London.
In London.
Okay.
What happens if we're wrong though? Like, what do I have to do? Because I feel like Ryan's just kind of a bystander. Like, I don't think Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not part of this deal because I'm not putting any stakes in.
And I already streamed Spider-Man as Spider-Man, so you can't really embarrass me there. So I do have the suit,
which definitely helps this. What is a good Spider-Man thing?
I've actually got the mask right here. If you missed it over the weekend over on Victims and Villains channel, I live streamed Spider-Man 2 in my Spider-Man 2 suit. So, yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to do, if you do this, I want you to, I'm going to say record, right? And then we'll have it as a bonus thing for our stream. I want you to record at least 10 pages of the spec script of Spider-Man 4 that I found online while wearing the costume.
Done.
Done. Good.
I might even just do that for fun. No, like that you sir have a deal.
Good.
I cannot wait to make you do the Spider-Man dance in London.
I can't wait to hear 10 pages of the spec script. It's wonderful.
I feel like you have to do it in a few spots. Like, you have to like strut down the street several times in different spots, and send me the footage and I'll edit it together for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to make it as film accurate as I can.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely going to happen.
I'm sure you are that I'm going to lose this bet. I don't think I'm going to lose.
What if we're both wrong? I feel like if we're both wrong, Ryan has to do something.
Ryan picks. Or Ryan picks what we both have to do, because we're both wrong.
If we're both wrong, we both do what we both do it. How's that? Like, if we're both wrong, like,
we both have to do our things.
Piccadilly Circus, baby. Yeah.
Places.
Yeah.
I think it would be great if you were on that giant Ferris wheel they have in London, and you were in with a bunch of random people, and you just started breakout dancing in it. Inside the little like cubicle thing.
Okay, so the thing they don't tell you about those cubicles is that they move in the wind.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, they don't warn you about that when you get on, and it's terrifying. Well,
it's a Ferris wheel. That's part of the thing.
If you look, they're grafted in.
No. You don't. I don't care how much they're grafted in. You go on a Ferris wheel. That's part of the ride, is the swaying back and forth.
Oh man, not for me, not that high up.
That's part of a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, Ryan does have all the power now, though.
Reality can be whatever he wants.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like
you have all
bet.
the power now. You've got the Infinity Gauntlet. I think that does it for this week's show. I cannot. Yeah. I really want to log off of here and just see that the Spider-Man second trailer is out.
And, like,
you're wrong, like, right away. But yeah, until if you're just joining us, go ahead and hit that follow button. We are live weekly with our podcast here, plus bonus streams with Devin. Devin, what are you gonna be streaming on Friday?
It's a good question. I want to be streaming very soon the Ghostbusters video game. It just went on sale and I love it and cannot wait to play it again. Plus it like super ties into here plus spooky season, so I think it's going to end up being Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, I think I already said that I'm hijacking a week and making you guys watch the new Ghostbusters because I've already seen it. So, but hey, chill vibes with Andre. It's great that you're just here. You can go back and watch the stream. You can listen to our podcast on all major podcasting platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Anywhere you'll get podcasts, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So Devin, what are you streaming this week? Have you decided?
Yeah, it's Ghostbusters.
Oh, you are doing
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Okay. You
Yeah,
said something
nailed
else earlier.
Did I? I'm sure I did.
Dead
I'm
by
sure I
Daylight.
said something. It is Dead by Daylight. Chad, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's Dead by Daylight on Friday. You're right. Yes. Chad, I apologize. I am the worst. I'm so focused on what's going to happen on Sunday with me that like every day leading up to it is just nothing.
What is Sunday?
Yeah, you know what? Check out next week's podcast for the We Watch This section, and you'll find out what I watched on Sunday.
Ooh. Okay.
It's going to be so cool, guys. I can't freaking wait.
All right. Besides that, next week we'll be talking about Bad Times at the El Royale. For you have to watch this podcast. I'm Allen.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon. I'll finish up.
We'll see you next week. Or sooner. Whatever suits your fancy. I love how defeated Ryan was when we did the voice. Like he just like, just end the show
like,
already.
oh, God,
I'm tired of it. Like,
Oh.
just end it already. You're still on. Why? Why are you still doing Christopher Walken?
I like
Because we can.